Good morning, Songvale. Just putting out my alerts, as you probably just saw on Discord. Not every moment of this login screen music is my absolute favorite, but it does... Like, it's not a song I necessarily would listen to on its own for a lot of its runtime, but it is a fantastic login music for World of Warcraft. I actually have some thoughts. I was thinking about, like, different eras of WoW, and I have a hard time deciding whether I would put this in the same group as, like vanilla through MOP is an era. And I think the reason I struggle with that is because of Cataclysm. So there's a really strong argument, I feel like nobody really debates this, that, like, if you're gonna group expansions or whatever, like, vanilla through Wrath is, like, the first one. But Cataclysm feels so different to me. It doesn't feel like MOP does. And so, like, I don't know, I'm just trying to decide, do I feel like World of Warcraft is, like, vanilla through MOP as an era, or do I feel like it's, like, vanilla through Wrath, and then Cataclysm is its own, like, turning point moment, and then we have, like, MOP through Legion? I feel like, I think it's something about the visual style where, like, there's lots of detail, but, like, there's still edges on the trees. Like, this, for me, something about the way that they did texturing and, like, the way they did models, maybe it's the amount of polygons or something, this feels like the final form of vanilla to me. But it's weird because a lot of Cataclysm stuff does not feel like vanilla to me. And I just realized I can't see your response because I didn't pop out my chat. Give me just a second. Yeah. Songvale saying that she feels like, oftentimes she thinks of Cataclysm and MOP as a unit, but then when she actually plays them, they don't feel the same at all. Yeah. I feel like Cataclysm is very different. Like, they were trying something new, and it was very different. I need to dismiss the thing telling me about... Honestly, I'm pretty sure drops I have already claimed for going on for WoW right now. But yeah, there's something about MOP that feels like the last time we did anything approaching vanilla. But you also couldn't, like, switch them. Like, part of the change coming to Pandaria and us being here is because the Cataclysm has happened. The Cataclysm has happened, and so, like, them being walled off and being separate from conflict is over. Like, change has come, and you just have to deal with it, like, is a core setup theme for Mists of Pandaria. If you are not super familiar with WoW, you may not know the significance of where we are. I guess I can't stand on this. Can I stand on this? This is the Vale of Eternal Blossoms in Pandaria. And if you go here in retail, or honestly, if you are playing this anywhere, even if it's set to Mists of Pandaria content, you will not get to enjoy this map or this view, because, spoiler alert, in the patch that comes out in just a couple of weeks here in MOPClassic, events occur that unleash the Shah and destroy all of this. So all of this water drains, and it is filled with the black sludge of Shah energy. I thought I had missed this, and in fact, the quest text is updated while playing MOPClassic as if it has already been destroyed. So I actually totally lost hope when I finally hit 87 yesterday and went to go do the quest. Because I thought I was too late. But I ended up coming back after work and doing the quest and was delighted to find it is not too late. It is here. Because I'm only 87, there is a quest chain for a group called the Golden Lotus. That is like a series of dailies, so it's sort of a quest chain, but it's more like a story you get to progress through as your reputation with them builds. And I won't be hitting 90 with any degree of chance to get through a substantial portion of those dailies in the next 2 weeks, most likely. So that is a little bit disappointing to miss out on that. I didn't even realize that was a thing, to be honest. But at least we are getting to see the zone, so I thought we'd just take a tour. Songvale had said a while ago that the stream keeps being super pixelated, but you can't tell if it's you or me. I'm not able... I don't know how I would determine if it was me. Tabbing over to the stream manager right now, it's green. It looks like it's okay. I'm not sure. Songvale says that she's heard people talk about the Golden Lotus stuff as something they either liked or missed, but she's never done it either. Yeah, and I, learned that for MOPClassic, they undid a requirement for you to progress with Golden Lotus before you could do the other reputations, in this expansion. But, I wasn't on top of rep grinds and stuff, so even though Mists of Pandaria was the first one where I did all of the questing zones, I did all of the side quests, I loved it, I still was bad at dailies, so I missed out on a lot of the story that was told through building reputation with these factions, which, to be clear, for me is not a critique of the game design. I feel like in an MMO, in a world where you're actually trying to depict or, provide the experience of the world, it makes sense that it's not a matter of do 20 quests, but in fact spend several days with these people. That's how reputations are built, so that makes sense to me. I love all these flowers. I don't think I've ever really noticed the flowers before. Samuel says the connection issue is probably her, since her internet is occasionally special, but that's way better than being always special like the last internet was. Yeah, that makes sense. I have said this before, but I am disappointed that I didn't, for a variety of reasons, invest in playing through MOPClassic. I have found over just the last couple of days, as I've been doing the last little bit of quests in hopes of getting to be able to see this area again. Because like I said, you can't access it anywhere. This is not one of the instances in which they have a Zadormi, so you can go back to the previous version of the zone. It is just permanent damage, and I think there is something really meaningful in that, in the context of the story about the harm that violence and hatred does. There is something that is artistically very relevant to this is gone and damaged, even if we all regret it, it's gone and damaged. So I understand the decision, even though it's oh, it'd be cool to go back. I get why this holds more water. I do wish you could choose to play the game though from the beginning to the end, having the experience the whole time, getting to do the whole story. But anyway, oh, I wish I had invested more, because somewhere between the music, which for me puts me in sort of this thoughtful but also kind of transcendent state in a lot of areas of Pandaria, it's intriguing, it really pulls my mind and imagination in, but then also doing especially boss mechanics, so many dungeon and raid bosses in Pandaria have life advice or food for thought as the things that they say and yell as they're doing mechanics that often are still themed in ways that go with what they're saying. It puts me in such a good, thoughtful place, especially because it's at that slower pace, where you could go back and do it now, but because there's no challenge and the fights are over quickly, that space for thinking is just not there. So yeah, I wish I had played MOP. I feel like it is a mentally and emotionally good thing for me, but it wasn't in the cards. Songwell says, this is so pretty, why can't we have it back? Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they didn't do the Vale like they did the Jade Serpent statue. Did they repair the Jade Serpent statue? Oh, you mean like the phasing, like as you progress through the story, it goes away. Yeah. Yeah, I think, I don't know, maybe it was supposed to be a statement about like, I don't know, because it remains, the Jade Serpent statue remains broken, but I I just wonder if it's supposed to be a statement where it's like, if you happen to go through there, even if you didn't do Pandora, you can see the effects of these actions in a really clear way. Um, I also could see where, like, they just felt like this was too big of an area, or maybe they were concerned about players being annoyed when they couldn't figure out, like, that they would have to do the whole quest chain to be able to do Siege of Orgrimmar, because the raid entrance to Siege of Orgrimmar is down here. Like, when this gets blown up, it's down here. Yeah, and so I'm just wondering if they basically just didn't or couldn't deal with it. The other thing I didn't remember, if you look up here, around the edges of the Vale, there's like this subtle sparkle. I don't think that exists post-Shaw. Like, I think this is the magical, like, barrier that kept most people out, which I think is interesting. Another thing I thought was interesting was there's a trio of Golden Lotus people in Siege of Orgrimmar that seem to be like just overtaken by the Shah and like upset. Um, and they are here, and they are here. Rook, Soon, and honestly, I don't remember if Ren is the other one, but I definitely remember Rook and Soon. I thought that was interesting that they are here. Also um, in live, one of these statues has fallen. This is the loading screen. Um, and when the Vale is destroyed, one of these is broken. So this is gone. Songwell says that Ren Firetongue is a familiar name to her, so she thinks he is the third one. That would make sense. You're probably right. I don't know why it doesn't feel right to me, but you are probably right. But yeah, something about the visual style just feels like this is Ultra Premium Deluxe Vanilla to me. I think it's that the models have harder edges. I think they didn't, like, there's not as much curves. There's still clear model edges. And so I just wonder if they, like, chose to render more complex shapes than they did in Cataclysm. And still kept the individual model polygon budget quite low, but then filled the world with, like, tons and tons of models. I just feel like its visual identity is much more in line with Vanilla and Burning Crusade. What do you think you would chunk the stories as Sunvale? Like, Vanilla through Wrath, Cataclysm by itself, as a turning point moment. Do you feel like, I don't know, maybe Mop is also its own moment? And then we do, like, Wad and Legion. I don't know. I feel like when I was thinking about this the other day, like, I had really clear chunks and I was really happy, like, grouping them basically all into, like, groups of 3 to 4, with the exception of Cataclysm. But now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like so many of them are independent. There's Alani. The one rep grind I did very diligently in Mists of Pandaria was the Cloud Serpent. I love a Cloud Serpent. They're very pretty to me. Songwell says, in terms of the story, she would say Vanilla TBC Wrath, then Kata Mists of Pandaria, then Wad and Legion, then Battle for Azeroth and Shadowlands, and War Within Midnight, and then also Last Titan. Dragonflight is the one that doesn't go with anything, and Kata and Mop do have a clear story progression together. I guess that's fair, because, like, I'm thinking just vaguely of Cataclysm as, like, bubbly models, but you're right that, like, the story about it's a world that is slowly devolving into war again. Like, I think of the Kata story as being, like, Twilight Hammer, and the Black Dragons, and honestly, mostly just Twilight Hammer is, like, my thought for Cataclysm. But the underlying story outside of the Twilight's Hammer is the tensions between the Horde and the Alliance are, like, ramping up again, even though we have just ended one of the greatest threats to the entire world together. Welcome back, Songvale. So I do kind of see what you mean. Like, Cataclysm is potentially... I don't know if it's... I guess I don't want to say it's necessary setup to me, because I feel like they explain what's going on in Mists of Pandaria by itself really well. But yeah, they can go together. Cataclysm, Songvale says, Cataclysm's endgame story isn't about the faction war, but tons and tons of the old world level up questing is. Yeah, that's fair. And maybe that's what's distracting me. It's hard to talk about Cataclysm because so much of what I associate with Cataclysm, well, A, is a visual identity thing. But then B is really the endgame stuff. When it's like it ignores a lot of what we saw in the new 1-60. Songvale says that she thinks the faction war in MOP would come out of nowhere without Catup's build up to it. That makes sense. Miss is just so good. I did do some research, and it does seem like, just generally speaking, there are not really options that are doable by oneself for experiencing MOP progression. Sometimes, like official MOPClassic, there are opportunities to get to play through the progression facilitated by not you. But there is not ways to do it just by yourself. It's all closed source, proprietary, etc. Tango says, I think parts of Kata's level up questing actually do a pretty good job of showing how and why faction tensions boil up again after Northrend, whereas without that, it would literally just be, why are you guys doing this? That's fair, yeah. And, you know, maybe I should be... There's just not enough time in the day. I was gonna say, like, maybe I should play through everything again, and I feel that way about everything all the time. Like, even running through here, I'm like, I should play through MOP again. And it's like, I've just had 9 months of not playing through MOP like I wanted to be. Lonnie's up there, being pretty. We're not going anywhere in specific. I also think that some of the things that I'm pausing to look at do probably exist in this form in retail still, but it's also just really nice to look around. I think there's a lot more NPCs, and I am not sure if it is because I am not 90 yet, or if NPCs move into all of these areas only after the destruction of the Vale, which seems like it would seem really odd. But there's one area that I was going through that was empty. I was like, wow, this would be a great, like, roleplay event spot. I'll have to go find it. This does have Shadowpan people in it later. I remember doing dailies here during Remix. This area, it's empty right now, and I don't know if it's just because I'm not 90, but I was like, look at how great of a restaurant spot this would be. Or like a party. I love the food models in Mists of Pandaria. Songo says, I remember there being a village in the Vale that a tavern guild whose name I'm blanking on used. Maybe Howling Owl? Howling Owl was a tavern guild. And that name sticks out to me because I remember talking to them, considering joining. But for reasons that you understand about me, it sounded like maybe they wouldn't be the best environment for me. But I remember talking with them one time about joining their guild. I feel like usually this model has this lid on it. I don't feel like I've seen the giant hot pot before. Look at how huge this noodle is. Like, okay, look. This is my body. How would you even eat this noodle? Songful says you have to share it with your friends. I guess. It links you all together. Well, I feel like there's also a negative symbolism, though, in the fact that, like, we're gonna have to cut it up to even get it out of the pot. I think what makes Mop look like this, just the more I look at it, is that they did really complex shapes on a fairly limited polygon budget so that they could use more models. I think that's why it looks like this. Sangirl says that's quitter talk to be thinking I have to cut up the noodle to get it out. Fair enough. I feel like the Vale in live does not have so many beautiful waterfalls. I love this. Songwell says, yes, in this era they still relied a lot more on hand-painted textures to give shape to things, and that the waterfall is gorgeous. Yeah. This just is peak World of Warcraft. And I know that's a very popular thing to say now. It wasn't at the time. I had a really hard time going into Warlords of Draenor because MOP was perfection to me. And at the time I was like, kind of, I'm not really sure about WoD. I was playing through it on Draenei though, and eventually it did really win me over in terms of that storyline experience. I also got to do, some different kinds of content that I really enjoyed, during WoD, and I ended up enjoying it a lot, although I agree, like everyone else, it was too short. But this was an incredibly hard act to follow for me. This was the greatest WoW. Also, I was finding, like, the combat mechanics, I really liked it. So, like, I did have the numbers popping up, but I feel like the numbers, like, scrolled slower or something. I mean, I think also just, like, the weapon fire speed is maybe lower, too. I don't know. I feel like 280 maybe is what my gun says in retail, but everything just feels like I had the time to take it in. Sungvale says, I think a big difference between MOP and Kata is that Kata's color and value palette is a lot more limited. Yeah, Kata was just like, do you like gray? Songvale says, any given zone in WoW has its color palette, but Katas are very limited in both color and value. Yeah. And I guess, like, MOP has lots of contrast in a way that I am more able to appreciate now. Songvale, you might remember this. Like, a year ago, I realized that color, like, if you're an art student, I might use the wrong terminology here, but I'll try to explain what I mean. Color has, like, inherent value. Like, the same level of intensity of yellow and blue, when you move that to black and white, the yellow still looks brighter than the blue does. And I feel like that's going on here. Like, there's not... Like, this green is pretty light and similar in like value to this gray, but I am very confident that if I made this image black and white, this would have really high contrast with this, and it makes it very interesting. Like the gray being more of a white is just going to inherently feel brighter, I think, than the green and probably the red. So, like, everything is just super interesting. Sangmo says, Kata is, do you like gray, do you like jungle green, or do you like bright, eye-killing orange, depending on which zone you're in? Like, they picked a color and went on as hard on it as possible. Yeah, I wonder if the challenge in Cataclysm was that they were really trying to do clear visual identity for different zones, but also they have to do, like, 50 of them. And, like, they were like, okay, everybody can only have one color. Being here and really appreciating what MOP looks like makes me feel like I should be working on art skills, or I should be working on doing game development, but specifically in, like, an MMO or an RPG space, because it feels important to have, which for me feels like I need to create, because I don't necessarily have right now, create worlds that I want to be in and worlds that feel valuable and worth saving. And I think, like, this curated, compelling, interestingness gives me that feeling. Like, I feel like that's one of those things. I feel like if I actually succeeded in that space and got there, I feel like that would be, like, my why do you create art thing. You know, so people are like, oh, I just need to express myself. I just need to this or that. I feel like my answer would be because I needed there to be a world or worlds where I wanted to be. Also, yes, I love these lantern flowers. There's just so many details I feel like I never noticed in Mists of Pandaria. And I loved it. And I love it now. I feel like I have more and more appreciation every time I take a break and then come back. I notice more stuff. Are there stars in that tree? There definitely is lights. See, like, looking at these really beautiful things slowing down and then having this, like, heartfelt discussion while this music plays underneath. It's just... It feels like such relief and, like, a revelation. Really meaningful. Feels important. Songwell saying something I like about the way they did rune shapes in Mop. Oh, I just realized that wasn't a complete sentence. I usually try to wait until the whole thought is there to share it. Okay, Songwell says, I feel like you can see a number of the shapes suggesting a paw print or part of a paw. Yeah, I do too. I think it has kind of a cool symbolicness to it, where it's like it's writing, but like it has this sort of like timeless I was here presence of the writer, in the way that like somebody putting their hand in the concrete gives you the sense that like at some point somebody wanted to tell the future that they were there when the concrete was wet, or like they were there in the past. I think writing having a quality of that handprint gives it a kind of cool I don't know, like it's not, I don't want to say like underdeveloped, but like a sort of ancient past I was here quality baked into the writing itself, which is very cool. Responding to a brief message from... Did that email that I just hit send on actually send? I don't know. Yes, it did. Why does send close the app? That doesn't make a sense at all. presence of a mark maker. Yes. I think the handwriting quality gives a clear presence of a mark maker. Maybe that's... I'm thinking about what you said, where, like, they used texture to provide definition in low poly models, and I think something that's really distinctive about the WoW style is the ability to do that. Maybe that's what looks weird about some of the Haranir skin types to me, is that that balance is not perfectly struck between the model having really clear defined shapes, like a shape idea that then the texture like adds to. The model is like too smooth and perfect, and then they did kind of, it has some painterly quality in some of it, but sometimes it's kind of too smooth. Yeah. So sorry. Having to respond to emails for my real job, but I think it is over now. Oh. I just love this space, and I'm also grateful and happy that, like, right now I am just enjoying running around, looking at stuff in it, having thoughts. This is something that I feel like, for me, is a valuable way to spend time in an MMO, and I usually don't feel this way. One thing I do think is strange is this music is definitely the, like, Shaw music, and I am not confident that this foreboding Shaw music always played in this area. Like, I kind of think this music is not... Look at his icon. I don't know where we're zoomed in on, but that does not seem like what it looks like to me. Like, I guess he's a Jinyu, but, like, what? Is that his face? I guess he's not aggressive. Let's go look at him. Oh. He's wearing, like, a plate helmet. Okay. Sungirl says, I wonder if there's some bugginess to it, or if it's meant to be foreshadowing. Like, is it an accident because they added the files to the client, or they're not supposed to play, or did they intentionally start playing the Shaw music early? Yeah, I'm not sure. And I also, I found, when I was trying to figure out if this still existed in MOPClassic right now, I found one person talking about how last August, so it was 1 month after release, they had encountered a bug while doing quests that turned this whole zone into its, like, destroyed state. So I suspect they... Ooh, this is the... There's a hunter pet to find. I don't remember which this one is, but let's go find out which one it is. So I know that the files for the ruined state of the game exist based on that post in this version of the game. It's based on retail. Tracks. Where's the next one? I remember at one point the dusty tracks were backwards, so you actually had to, like, go the opposite way that they were pointing. This one is not readable in any direction. I'm glad that Twitch has figured out that this, anytime that URL is in, like, any portion of that URL is in the message, that we should just delete it or hold it. Yeah, we found him. Alright, let's keep going. Let's see. Looking for more tracks. I don't even remember who this one is. Do you remember who this one is? Songwell says no, she's never succeeded in following the tracks. Oop. Oop, oop. You see that? I feel like I saw something for a brief second. It's here. It's here somewhere. But we have to wait for the flare to off cooldown again. I'm going to make the choice to use up the flare. Even though I shouldn't have done that. Oh, yep, he's over here. That could make sense, because I think there is, like, storm wolves here. I saw a track there. Here's a track here. Oh, cool! The 90 Elite. I don't really think we should pull that. But we saw it. It was a Cheelin. That's fun. Says we would probably die, but that is neat. Yeah. It is 90. We are 87. It's probably not happening. What the heck? Let's do a dungeon, huh? Even though questing was probably the, best way to gain more experience here. If it's elite, it's might be BM only. I think it is Beast Mastery only. I feel like the Cheelin are their own thing. I don't think they're dogs. So what do you think, friend? How is it to see the Vale of Eternal Blossoms in its original state? I think the reason things are disappearing from view is that this is what I'm supposed to see. I'm catching glimpses of NPCs that are for level 90 content. Because this is the kind of quest event for coming in here from Kunlai, where there's all these refugees coming. Songwell says, I wish I had gone too, but I feel like no matter how much time I had there, I'd always have FOMO about it going away. Yeah. I'm glad that you are getting to tour with me. I did find that there are a number of videos of it on the internet from its original form, although given that it's from 2013, the, sometimes the recording quality is not probably even as good as this video is. Songwell says, can I look at the view from that place where the road starts to tilt down? Okay. Oh, it occurs to me also we should go see the NPC, in the middle of the lake that's still there right now. This? I think the trees here are very beautiful. Which makes sense, because I like Eversong too. I have made an appointment. Help me remember this. I have made an appointment to be at the district office at 12:15. It is extremely nice. Client's graveyard, it looks like. It would be cool if, like, your guild or your community could set the world to a particular patch state. I think that would be cool, so that, like, you could get a guild together that wants to do, like, MOP progression in retail, and, like, I feel like that could be a nightmare to fix, like, bug interactions or something on, but I don't know. Maybe you can't do class tuning, but you could do, like, world content. Sango says they should have had a mechanic in MOP where if you did PvP anywhere in the open world of Pandaria, Sha mobs would spawn and attack you. That would have been cool. I wonder if you fall down there if you can get out, or if you just have to, like, hearth out. You know?
Tell me of your travels.
I don't think you were originally able to buy a lot of this gear, like, off this place. I feel like I recognize some of it being, like, raid drop stuff that they gave an alternative way of getting in MOPClassic.
Protect you.
The imp says try it, but I'm not sure you should. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, I kind of want to try it, but I don't know if I should. Oh, okay. They said no, don't do that. You can't get out. Okay. Fair enough. Just views you can't enjoy anywhere else. Very much protecting us from ourselves, yes, Songvale. Blizz was like, hey, wait, don't be stupid. I do need to take a quick pause for a restroom break. And also then you can watch the queue pop while I'm gone. I will be right back. But she is out of polishing cloths, but she gave the last few to her mother to save some jewelry. I also really need to polish my tea set. One moment I have received another work email, so it's a good thing that today's stream is largely an opportunity for us to get to look at beautiful vistas. I'm back. Thank you. Fungo says, welcome back. I do enjoy being addressed as Spirit. I don't totally know the specifics of it, but I do like it. What a beautiful game. What a beautiful world. Well, oh, it looks like we just need a healer. I was gonna say, should we call it and go do something in midnight? But goodness. I don't remember this at all.
How you do it, man? Stay away from them.
I mean, his name is Bacon. He sells meat, and, like, fair enough, but, like, I don't remember this at all. I feel like I would remember the pile of pigs. Holy crap. Excuse me for one moment while I alt-tab to look this up. I don't remember that at all. They were very efficient about texturing only half of the pig, it's true. Interesting. Maybe part... Well, I played for a long time, so I'm not sure. The Warcraft wiki page on the trivia area... well, so on patch changes, it's noticed that it's stated that he was implemented in, patch 5.0.4, and then he was removed in patch 5.4. And eventually it was learned, via a dev on Twitter, that Bacon and other NPCs in both of the Horde and Alliance shrines were removed because of performance issues due to there being too many unique models in the area. So he and his pigs don't exist anymore, I guess, because it caused an issue once they were, changing this up, but I feel like I would remember that from MOP, but I guess I don't. Wow. Okay. And then in BFA, he's been re-added, so he's there now, apparently. I just don't remember that at all. But yeah, I don't think doing one dungeon, especially because we're probably going to get a repeat I've already done the quests out of, is even going to get us to 88. Sungo says, I'd almost swear I've never seen him. That's incredible. Yeah. Like, this area feels quite empty to me. Like, there's no mailbox. I guess maybe they're trying to encourage players, like, not to hang out here before 90? They're like, go home. Which, like, I have at the thought, like, okay, well, let's go continue questing. But it's hard to leave. You know? Hard to leave. Sungo's like, yeah, like, please don't bring your ult to the endgame city, get bored, and stop playing. Yeah, they're like, go back. Go keep going. Come back when you're 90. Incredibly so. I have a question for you, Songville. Do you think I need to bring Windblade this evening? I feel like the answer is yes, because we're playing so much WoW. Or do I just bring the Steam Deck? Songville says yes, I do need Windblade, and that she would like to keep Vale of Eternal Blossom. Yeah, it's really making me think, like, how could I contribute in some way to game preservation? Like, what skills could I learn to be able to make this experience, this journey from landing in Jade Forest all the way through the end of Siege of Orgrimmar is something that is possible to experience. Can I dismiss my UI? Absolutely. There you go. I'll even move my cursor out of the way. I'm not sure. Did you just want, like, to be able to look at it like this, or are you taking a screenshot? The UI has to come back now. It's time for dungeon. Time for dungeon. I'm gonna go to the fungeon. For some reason, something about this, maybe just thinking that I would like to have my mouse from the post office right now, reminded me that I thought of something else I needed to get at Walmart. But now I can't remember what it is. This is the word. Oh, the headphones. Hey, it's a place that I don't have a quest for yet.
I hope to see you again soon. Farewell. Travel safe.
Alright. I do need to add the headphone. My list. Songvale's gonna go check on her doggo real quick. That sounds good. I support you in that.
We are the greatest. These other clans are nothing. These other clans are nothing. These other clans aren't worthy of your time.
I also feel like, as I'm looking at this, like, the Mogu aesthetic isn't my favorite. It's like a little bit, it's too much. It's a little overbearing. It reminds me of, like, looking at, like, Rococo stuff, where I'll be like, I like several of these elements, but I would use 2, and you've used 7. And I feel that way looking around, but I feel like I probably did not have such a nice screen in original MOP, because I feel like I can see more details in things like this than I remember seeing at the time. The screen that I have on my current laptop that I'm playing on renders color and lighting in such a beautiful way. I think it just has, like, incredible color definition. Just makes everything with great lighting or great colors look incredible. And I love it. Can't get through because there's lightning. Now I can get through. But yeah, I was not a Mogu person. I mean, I'm not, like, against the Mogu, but they were not super, super compelling to me. But I can almost feel my mind doing that thing where, like, over time, they become, like, my mind becomes more interested in them. But I think they feel very just prudish. And that is not my aesthetic, as they say. But I am kind of interested in them in the sense of, like, their magic, their empire, their connection to the Titans. I feel like I'm game to learn more about that in a Titan X back, which, you know, I haven't seen anybody talking about, like, what might appear or be relevant in Last Titan. And I feel like the Mogu would be an interesting thing to bring up. I also liked the snake people, the stone snake people in Warlords of Dragonflight. They my train of thought is so bad right now. It'd be cool if both those showed up again, because look at the Recti. I just liked their models. They move cool. I am stuck in place. I'm stunned. Alright. But yeah, the pacing of this is just like, every blow feels like it hits. I can parse the amount of numbers that are, like, going up and then, like, slowly scrolling. It's not like, ba-bam, 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 which, like, I understand some people find very stimulating. It doesn't interest me, and it makes me feel overwhelmed, even though I'm always, like, desperate to be entertained. Like, just a lot of flashing colors does not entertain me, per se. Songo says that she is back. He seems low and is resting, but is otherwise okay. His guts are kind of gurgling. Well, he's doing a thing. Do you think when stream is over, you will go try to feed him a little bit? I wonder if you are up for it, if you should... I mean, I understand why maybe if he might puke or something, you don't necessarily want to let him into the dining room. But I wonder if you could go sit down there with him. There's not really a good way to sit in the kitchen, unfortunately, and work on your writing or your editing.
Impossible! Our might is the greatest in all the Empire.
We have won. We have bested all three of the Mogu warlords.
Who allowed these outsiders in our homes? Only Clan Harthak or Clan Kargish would stoop to such treachery.
Songville says, afraid to let him into that sitting room at the moment, given what he could potentially do with the carpets. That's exactly what I'm thinking. But she could stand to make pasta. Yeah, so you can go hang out with him for a little bit. A good test of his appetite would be, like, will he... I mean, you did a pretty good job of training him that, like, you're not going to give him food, but, you know, if he comes and stands around your feet being like, hi, can I have some pastas? That'll be good.
Unless our race will do their bidding, you must betray us. A well-scripted exchange, but we are not fooled. Your clans are clearly in league with one another.
You found it encouraging that he ate the blueberry. Yeah, I think that's good.
We will put you all
Like,
down.
his personality is still there, of like, I have an upset stomach, but do you know what I want to do? Eat anyway. I do think it's tough, like, with dogs, especially because, like, they eat a really limited diet. It's not like they could do what we do, where it's like, well, my stomach's not feeling well, so I have gentle food, you know, like I have rice or I have a banana or something like that. Whereas, like, a dog that's used to eating the same, like, 4 things all the time, like, the gentle stuff would be unfamiliar to their stomachs, and so, in fact, may may upset them just because it's so different. So there's not as much of a barf diet, as it were. I do think when this dungeon is over, I may have to end the stream just so I can get ready to begin doing more work things where other people can see me. Bongo says, I do think if there's a chicken one thawed, I will go with that, as that is probably the gentlest of his foods. That makes sense. I'm sure there is a chicken one thawed. I feel like, anyway. I guess it's possible. Sometimes I mistake the pork ones for the chicken ones, but I'm pretty sure that there's gonna be a chicken one. Unless you've been feeding him lots of chicken ones, I don't know. Or if it's just getting low. Bongo says there was at least one chicken one, but she knows that she's fed at least one chicken one and it's getting kind of low in the fridge. That is possible, then, that you are just getting down to the end. Hopefully there's a chicken one. I guess you could go grab a couple chicken ones out of the freezer, too, to make sure that, like, you could do with chicken tomorrow. Just for continued stomach kindness. It's interesting how, like, sometimes I can talk and play just fine, and, other times it's like, I'm not even doing anything right now, I'm just, like, focused looking at the game. I was typing, that's true. I was communicating with the group. We were actually discussing strategy for kill order on this council fight. Songwell says, do you know that your chat box is uncovered? I just realized it. No. No, I didn't realize that. I, turned off my thing when I was going to stream doing the, or not stream, going to just record doing the, intro to the Vale, which, you know, I didn't end up doing. Oops. I just recorded going up to the entry area and then turned it off when the quest text was indicating that it was too late. But that's good to know. I guess luckily we haven't really seen anything untoward in the chat. I suppose I'll turn it on before we end up with any issues. Go. I've missed the elevator. It didn't occur to you because WoW looks normal with a chat box. Cool. I got a speed boost. Wrong way. Good thing I have this speed boost to catch up. I didn't even realize that I was symbiosis. I was chosen. He says that he is just kidding. So, hopefully he was. The male troll model has been interesting me more lately. It seems like an interesting shape. I don't have loads of time, but part of me is interested in trying it. It's one of the models that I actually have never really spent much time on. Eat him. He's the troll, not me. I do not eat people. You are vicious sometimes, my friend. Languel says she is only vicious when it solves problems. Fair enough. Five-minute cooldown. I probably shouldn't have pulled that. I should have saved it for the boss, because I don't think it will still be in here in 5 minutes, but... ah, well.
What is this? More have come to claim my crown. They are small and weak. me, peons. You will not be the last.
What is your plan for the rest of today, Songvale? As well. That wasn't the potion I wanted to use. Wasn't at all. Songwell says that she needs to send something to her client and she has other things on the to-do list, but she does not remember what they are, and then sympathizes with my agony.
You call that a fight?
Lots of tank gear today. There's plate, tanking trinket, tanking ring. We are not hitting 88 off this. We will be very close. So I suppose I could at least see a little bit of level 90 Vale, potentially,
Tell me
if I pick away at this.
May your days bring you joy. I hope to see you again soon. Farewell.
Not as good as what I'm wearing.
Travel safe.
Alright. Well, but that didn't move the bar quite as much as I thought, but still, I'm thinking maybe one more dungeon. But yeah. We will leave, and I think we're gonna wrap it up there for today. So I'm just not quite sure what else to say or do. And that feels like an ending. Songwell says it's so nice to watch Red Will and not hunching his shoulders. I admit I don't totally see the shoulder hunching thing that you were talking about in retail, but that's probably to my benefit. Go look at the pretty. There it is. Ah. It is very pretty. Do I have any uncreamed coffee? I do. Songwell says, thank you for stream and for Vale. You are most welcome. Thank you for encouraging me to stream and to see the Vale once again. It's such a nice... And also for the discussion about World of Warcraft visual identity. I think that is quite valuable too. I do feel like I am more aware than I have ever been in the past. Like I had this thought while I was looking at him yesterday. Those masks you get at Hollow's End with like the faces and they look really creepy. Like they're actually a pretty accurate rendition of like what these faces look like when you look at them straight on, you know? Like that looks like a Hollow's End mask. I also understand why they did blinking the way they did, but, if you're zoomed in, it does not look good. If you are here, it looks fine. Songwell says it's the same face texture, just put over a different shape. Yes, but what I mean is, like, that the faces were low poly or something enough as it is to, like, it does look identical. Also, my cat is huge. Like, she's almost big enough to be a mount. Songwell says she remembers when Mop was current. I'm betting that she's going to talk about how disorienting it was to be, like, a human next to Pandaren. Songwell says that she remembers seeing somebody go on about how Pandaren models had just as many polygons in just the face as player models had in their entire body. Yeah, that makes sense. There's a pretty big difference here. For sure. But I also feel like I can tell that they were allowed to have a much higher resolution texture, too. Songwell says the Blood Elf models stand up better than the human ones, which might be partially because they're a year or two newer, but I think also just their shapes suit the angularity of low poly more. Yeah. They are sleeker. Whereas, like, say, human males, they have all these different muscle groups that are, like, really distinct in their arms.
Greetings.
Sometimes I still have intrusive thoughts about the hilarity of that time that I got those pants on Red Willow. And the rear texturing was distinct. That was shocking. And genuinely funny, but extremely shocking. Sangoso's pants like that would be so uncomfortable. Yeah. I would lose my freaking mind if I was wearing those. Like, I would have this crisis moment where it's like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do my job. If I, like, say, like, if for some reason, you know, they gave me, I had to wear pants for a work uniform, I'd have that issue anyway, but if I had to wear pants for a work uniform, and then they gave me, like, a size too small or something, like, I don't think I'd be able to do it. I would go in the, and I'm not even, like, exaggerating here, I feel like I would, like, go in the restroom and just, like, be unable to come out, because I would not be able to bear wearing them, and the restroom would be the only private place where I could be not wearing them. It would drive me bananas. I just would not survive. I do want to do something else. I just can't figure out what else to do, given that I have to be at a meeting in 30 minutes, so alas, I believe is where we call it for today. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your presence. It is a very nice view out the door, Hongville says. I do like this one as well, being able to see my character model, but yeah, this feels very, very intentional. Good world design. You are welcome for stream. I am not quite sure what's gonna happen for tomorrow. I have not had the heart to tell Ninipion that, like, we can't Genshin Scream because I won't be home. But at the same time, I will be at your place tomorrow morning. And it will not be very convenient to stream. So, I'm not sure. We might do a really short morning stream and see, like, if it works on your net at all. Or maybe I will have to do an evening stream. It might kind of depend on how tomorrow morning is going. So, we shall see. But, as far as for today, that's the Vale. I will catch you all in the next one. If it is not tomorrow, it will be next Wednesday around the same time for more WoW Wednesday. Sungle says I need to remember to get off the bus this evening. Indeed, I do. If you could text me about that, like, at, like, 5:30, that would be great. Alright. Hydration alert. I do have some water here that I didn't touch at all the whole stream. We're slacking. Water achieved. Goodbye, and I'll catch you all again soon.